Coming to you live from a little grass shack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's the Junior Kekuewa Jr. Show, starring Junior Kekuewa Jr.
Oh, man, hurry up.
Join Junior along with the Wayne Borhe Band as he makes any kind from Hawaii.
Oh, brother.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Junior Kekuewa Jr.
Whoa, how's it always? Okay, always. All right, get him out. All right. Sometimes we're gonna chase them out. How's it? Welcome to the podcast. I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. Aloha from Hawaii, as it were. Yes, because we're coming to you live from Hawaii. Well, not live, but you understand. We're on the podcast. All right. So we wanted to say, we wanted to acknowledge some people. First, the attitude of gratitude, like we always do. Okay. And the attitude of gratitude is such that we acknowledge certain demographics and whatever in our the kind, that. Okay, that's the way we talk in Hawaii. I know it's different. So the male demographic is the dominant demographic. So thank you guys. Okay, the age, basically our audience is 18 to dead right now. It kind of moved down. It was 21 to dead, and now the demographics are going down because down younger. It's getting younger because younger people are hearing Uncle and going, hey, Uncle makes sense. Let's listen to him. Okay. Anyway, our last countries, Armenia, Palestine, Kazakhstan, Taiwan, Bulgaria, Ghana, and Italy, Hong Kong. It kind of goes on like that. So thank you guys over there. Thank you very much. The number one platform is Apple Podcast again. Okay, web browsers 21.3%. So that number is up. So more people are listening to us at home and at the office, and we thank you. iHeartMedia. Okay, so iHeartRadio app. A lot of people, and Spotify. Okay, Spotify. We want to say mahalo to you guys. So let's get on with the podcast. Okay. So now, what are we talking about today on the podcast? Well, we're talking about God-made versus man-made today. Okay, because I do lives every, So every morning I do lives on 5 different platforms. So, TikTok, we do, and over here on the podcast, this is where you get to really know me. Okay, because I'll tell you what I think on the podcast. I won't necessarily go into all those details, like on my lives. And the reason why is because I have certain people that follow me and certain people that listen to the podcast. And, I think it's important that if you're listening to the podcast, you get to know me. If you're watching me on, my social media accounts, it's kind of biased. It is in a way, right? Because, and there's things I won't say on the platform because, right, they'll get censored. So anyway, you get the real me over here. Anyway, and I know I sound like my voice is like all hash right now. I know I sound like that. That's called coffee in the morning. Okay. And I start my day very, very early. And I'll go over that. But we're going to talk about God-made versus man-made. Okay. Now, there are certain things that are God-made. Okay. Certain things like nature. Okay. And you, that's right. So the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious are God-made. Okay, so that's you, and we'll say that God represents the superconscious represents God in this scenario or in this explanation. Okay, and the conscious and subconscious. If you don't believe in God, then there's subconscious and conscious. Okay, now the conscious mind, what is that job? What does it do? Okay, it makes a decision. It says, okay, we're gonna go for that, or okay, this is my goal. Now the subconscious, right, is the one that, it's like you're programming. Okay, so you can program the subconscious, and then guess what? It goes on autopilot. Okay, so it goes on autopilot, and so you can program it to believe that you're a success. Okay, you can write it down over and over and over. I am a success. I am a success. I am a success, and pretty soon you will feel like a success, and then you will become that success. Why? Because the subconscious will look for evidence that you are successful. It will pull out things to prove to you that you're successful. It'll go, yeah, you remember when you got that A in English class when you were in 6th grade? Yeah, it goes that far back. And it'll just pull things like that. Okay. And then pretty soon you'll be like, whoa, yeah, that's right. I am successful. Right? Yeah, I am success. Right? Okay. So when this happens, okay, when this happens, you're actually gonna be like, oh, wow, okay. And you're gonna realize it. And then when you realize it, what happens? Well, then it becomes a habit. Why? Because the subconscious repeats the repetition that it learned in repetition. Okay, so it's all about repetition. It's all about putting yourself in the loop. Okay, so now if you write down, I am wealthy, are you going to be wealthy? Yeah, you're going to be wealthy. Okay, but you have to recognize what wealth is. Okay, it's not just money. Okay, money. Okay, so money, is that God-made or man-made? That's right. It's man-made. Okay, they create Federal Reserve notes or currency or whatever. But it's called currency for a reason. It's an energy. So what happens when you're wealthy? Well, that's part of it, right? That's part of the energy because you're in a higher vibration. Okay, now when you're in a higher vibration, okay, when you're resonating at a higher vibration, or let's say, with human beings, it's more along the lines of mood, okay, when you're in a better vibration. Because when you're in a better vibration, you attract better things. Pretty soon you're in a better neighborhood. Pretty soon, right? You have more civility because people that are in the finer neighborhoods, let's say in a gated community, let's say in a high-rise building that has security or whatever, stuff like that. It's not going to be like the hood. Okay, it's not going to be like the hood. It's just not. Okay, but here's the thing, right? You can be surrounded by money and be poor. You could be surrounded by money. I mean, you could have a lot of money and be poor. Okay? And I'm talking about poor in spirit. I'm talking about poor in heart. I'm talking about poor in a lot of respects. Okay? It's not just it's not just, you may think, right? You may think that it's just about, a lot of money and, I can go to the store and buy anything I want and, that kind of thing. I know tons of people that have tons of things, okay? And to them, it's just things because they're not happy inside. Okay, so what is wealth really? Well, the higher frequencies: love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, satisfaction, all of those things. There's an expanded list, okay? But this is just, an overview, okay? So when you're in this vibration, okay, the vibration of love includes all of these: love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, satisfaction, all of those. They're all a part of love. Okay, what are the negative vibrations? Okay, here's an overview. Okay, it starts at worry. Okay, when you're worrying about something, okay, you're in the beginning of the downward spiral. Okay, then it goes down to irritation, disappointment, criticism, anger. It's a progression. Hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear. Okay, so it just, all of those things. Now, all of that belongs to fear. Fear is the devil. Okay, fear is the devil. Now, for you Christians, okay, here you go. Okay, so love is Jesus, right? Jesus was all about love, right? Jesus only taught two things. Okay, love others, love God more than yourself, and love others as yourself. That's it. Okay, love everyone. And sometimes it's hard, even for me, because I meet some challenging people. Okay, they challenge my ability to love. Okay, but sometimes you need a challenge. I worked with people that were very, very challenging in that respect. But they taught me a lot. They taught me a lot about myself. Okay, they did. So here's the thing, right? When you're in this stage of learning, okay, sometimes you have harsh teachers, and sometimes you look at those teachers and you go, wow, like yeah, I hate those guys or whatever. You might initially think that, and you might think it when you're going through it, but afterwards you realize down the road what it made you into, what it helped you accomplish. Okay, like people in the military, you have a harsh drill sergeant or something, right? And the guy's like always on you and always, whatever. But it makes you a better soldier. It makes you a better person. Okay. So the emotional frequencies, when you get into a better place or when you raise your frequency, okay, let's say you worry a lot. Okay. Well, if you go up the ladder just a little bit, you get to satisfaction, you get to hope, you get to enthusiasm, excitement. Okay. Now you're in a higher vibration. Okay. So these things lead to things. Okay. So when you put into your subconscious that you're excited about life, what does the subconscious do? Well, it looks for evidence of it. It goes, yeah, well, hey, yeah, this, you had this opportunity over here. That's exciting. Oh, yeah, you do this for a living. That's exciting. Oh, whatever. It'll pull things like that. The superconscious, which represents God, will open the doors as you take the steps towards the goal. Whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. Okay, but it will open the doors. Okay, and the doors will start to, when the doors begin to open, you'll go, oh my God. Okay, so I have a client, right? And I like this guy. I like this. I don't know why. I don't know why I like this guy so much. When I met this guy, I'm like, his goals were so over the top, right? And I was like, oh, I want to help this guy. And, he's younger. And when I was younger, there were people that made time for me. And they kind of, they didn't have to. They were, some of them were famous, some of them not so famous, but they took time and they gave me their time. So I've always made it a company policy to donate time. So I donate 1 day a week to this guy, right? And we go walking, we do walking meetings, and nothing works one way in the universe, okay, or in the world or in life. Okay, so whatever you give, you get back. Okay, sometimes it's not from that person. Like I donate my time to him, but guess what? I obtain knowledge when I walk with him because I learn about his world. Okay, I have my world. He learns about my world. I learn about his world. I teach him how to believe in himself, and he educates me on other things that he's been through, that he's knowledge that he's acquired. And some of the knowledge I'm familiar with, and some of it is brand new. And so it's a good exchange, is what I'm saying. Right. But that's been my company policy for years and years, like ever since. And so anyway, so I give my time to this guy because I was so impressed with this guy's level of intelligence when I met him and his goals. He had like this laundry list, and he had this super huge goal of he was going to, finance this big thing, and he was going to do this big thing. And, he wanted to buy buildings and all this stuff. And my thing with him was showing him how to believe in himself, because that's all he really needed to do, right? And he started believing in himself. And I told him, I said, look, as you take the steps, the doors will open. And he started taking steps, and guess what? The doors started to open, okay? And now he's on the verge of this huge step. Like I can't even yeah, and these things are confidential with my clients. So I really can't go into all the details, but I can tell you that it's huge. I can tell you that this guy is doing big things, okay? And it's all the result of big thinking, bigger thinking, okay? Expansiveness in thinking, okay? And belief in one's self, okay? Now this brings me back to God-made and man-made. So you are God-made, okay? I used the example this morning of the Wright brothers, okay? So I was talking about Orville and Wilbur and Kitty Hawk and whatever, right? Everybody thought they were crazy, right? Everybody goes, no, if God meant for us to fly, he would have given man wings or stuff like that, right? And you hear this stuff. You hear this stuff when you're a kid, right? You hear naysayers. These are naysayers, okay? They're telling you no. They're telling you, no, it can't possibly be. It can't possibly be. But you know what? It's their understanding. It's their narrow-mindedness. So on the live this morning, I was talking about expansion. Like open your mind, okay? Because a mind is like a parachute. It doesn't really work well unless it's open. Okay, parachutes don't work if they don't open. Okay, ouch. But anyway, yeah. Okay, I told you it's a comedy podcast. There's your comedy, Hawaiians. There you go. There's your comedy. But here's the thing, okay? In my life, I found okay, if I just pursue the goal, right? The how is God's job. And I never paid attention to the how. And I had educated people, like highly educated people. I even had this guy, and God bless him. He had a stroke and whatever, and he used to work out at the gym I was at. And he was a very accomplished businessman, right? Like a lot of money, tons of money. The money didn't do any good after he had his stroke, okay? And he was like, partially disabled kind of thing, but he had tons of money. He sat down at a meeting that I had. I had a meeting with him because I wanted to, kind of like run some things by him and see if there was some way that, we could collaborate, right? And he would just look at my ideas and go, no, this doesn't work like that. That doesn't work like that. Okay. And then I told him that I mentored people, and he goes, well, you can't mentor people, because then if you do that and you're not qualified and you don't have this degree and that degree and this and that and whatever, then they'll sue you. And I was like, well, I'm not afraid of that because I have my own way of doing it, right? But he was telling me, no, it doesn't work this way. It doesn't work that way, whatever. Okay, but this guy was a college guy. Okay, and the funny thing about college, I went to college for a year. Okay, I got straight A's in writing, which is what I really wanted to do. That nothing else in college appealed to me at all. And writing was the only thing I found that okay, I have a mild interest in writing. I didn't want to be a writer. I just wanted to learn how to write good, right? So I took the class, and then I got straight A's in writing. And it was the only core subject that I took, right? The others were elective, and, I did a math thing. I hate mathing, and I think I had math minus 15 math. What do they call it? Like sub-zero math. Like 2 + 2 is 4. Oh, okay, I got this. That kind of thing, right? But anyway, so I went to school for a year. I went to college for a year, and I dropped out at the end of the year. And I was kind of like, I dropped out to take a job in radio. Okay, so to put this in perspective, it's like I don't know. It's like going from a place I was respected to jump into the fire of a place I was disrespected. And, it was a shock for me because in school, you get recognized for being smart. In a radio station, you get penalized for being smart. They don't like smart people. They're like, oh, well, you think you're smart? And then they start messing with you, which is exactly what happened, right? But anyway, so, and I went to my mentor, my mom's youngest brother. He's my mentor, my first mentor from 13 years old. Okay. So he started mentoring me when I was 13, and we, and his favorite quote was, what about God? And so my comeback was always, what about God? And I meant that kind of cynical in a way, because it was my way of pushing my uncle back. It was like, well, what about God? And then he would go, no, you're going to find out. You're going to learn. And he told me that. He says, you're going to find out. He goes, you're learning. You're almost there. And, and I never knew what that meant. Okay. Until recently, the last, 5-6 years, something like that. But it started in 2007 when I started to realize, things, right? And then it just got deeper and deeper and deeper. And about 5 years ago, I was like, oh, there it is, got it. And the ironic part about it, the irony of it, was I couldn't talk to my uncle about it because he had a series of strokes, and he couldn't communicate. He could recognize you, but he couldn't talk to you. He couldn't communicate. And it really bothered me. It bothered me a lot. It really bothered me a lot. But I had to deal with it within myself. And I was like, okay, I'm good with it, But anyway, so back to this other guy, right? And he would tell me how, no, this doesn't work like that, doesn't work like that. And okay, now, did I take no for an answer? Absolutely not. I did not. So what did I do? Well, I kept doing my way. I kept going with my way. Because every time I prayed for it, every time I talked to God about it, right, I got the same feeling. And the feeling was, no, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And the doors started to open. And before you know it, right, we were consulting with a large what can we say pharmacy chain? Yeah, we can say. So a large, and this is a nationwide conglomerate of stores, a large group of stores. Anyway, so that was my first client, right? And I was talking to this guy like before that, and he was telling me how I couldn't. No, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work this way. It doesn't work that way. And I was like, oh, okay. And I think he just saw me as an entertainer, and that was okay. That was fine. Different people know me for different things. So to some people, I'm the consultant. To some people, I'm the entertainer. To some people, I'm the musician. To some people, I'm the teacher. To some people, I'm the life coach, whatever. And so I've learned to live with it. A multi-hyphenate is someone who does a lot of different things, and that's who I am. And so I've had to deal with people like that. And narrow-minded people will only see you one way. And generally, it's first impression, right? So how you know the person the first time, and then, when you tell them, oh, well, I do this too, and I do that too, and in their minds, they're like, what? That kind of thing. And I've learned to live with that. But anyway, so the point of this is, right, God made versus man made. Well, you're God made. When you take the steps, God is obligated to open the doors. Okay? But you have to believe in yourself. Okay? You have to believe in yourself. And this is what, the majority of the teaching that I teach people is to have faith. Okay, to walk by faith and not by sight, but have faith in yourself. Why? Because God lives in here. You are a co-creator with God. You're partners with God. Okay, now this is not church. This is not anything like that. Okay, but what I'm telling you is that you're a human being. You have gifts. You have natural gifts. And one of your gifts is that when you take the steps towards a goal, the universe, okay, or God, or however you want to put it. I don't care how you want to put it, okay? But however you want to put it, that is obligated to act on your behalf. That is there. It's there. It's in you, okay? And the how is God's job. So how you go about it, you get hung up. Educated people, right? So here's this is for all you educated people, okay? You guys with degrees, Masonic degrees. Okay, you guys with college degrees. And I'm not hating on you guys, okay? Love you guys. Okay, I love you guys. You guys make society what it is because you have degrees, okay? But you people with degrees are the easiest people to get hung up on stuff, okay? Because you want to figure out how. You don't have to know how, okay? So Orville and Wilbur Wright, right? They what did they do? Did they go to college to learn aerospace? No, it wasn't even invented yet. They were out there trying with whatever they could, right? So divine inspiration, okay? Divine, right? All of that. And yes, they had some idea. They had some science behind them. They had some of that. They did. But what I'm saying is it was trial and error. And pretty soon, boom, there it is. Okay, now that's God. Okay, the best inventors of all time always reference God. They don't always say God, okay? But they always reference Nikola Tesla, all of them. They all reference the unseen or whatever, but they put it in neutral terms because some people don't believe in God, and you don't want to offend those people because you want to be neutral. So I say superconscious. Okay, that's what I call superconscious. In spiritual terms, that's what they call it. Okay, so when you don't want to offend anybody and whatever, and you want to put a label on it, okay, superconscious. There you go. But you don't have to know how. And I'm showing this guy, right, this client of mine, and he doesn't believe in God, and that's fine. And I get it. I totally get it. Okay, because I can see how certain people don't believe in God because of the way God has been used by man against man. Okay, look at the Crusades, look at the evidence, look at all that stuff. Just okay. So I mean, and I see two sides of it. I see both sides of it. I see the good part about Christianity and whatever. And there's all kinds of gods, all kinds of religions. Okay, and then I can see the other side. Okay, the side that, because let's say you're trying to have somebody come over to your way of thinking, okay, and you're trying to persuade them to join your church or your temple or your synagogue or your organization, and you have to kind of present it like, okay, this is the thing, right? And you don't have the thing, you don't believe in the thing, but we have the thing. This is the thing, and we're going to worship this thing. Okay, so you have that kind of thing going on, right? And the other person kind of feels inferior. Okay, so I get it, right? I get it. But there's also so much misuse of religion. There's tons of misuse of religion. Okay, but we're not talking about that. Okay, we're talking about God-made versus man-made. Okay, but you are God-made, and based upon how you believe, if you believe, either in God or Allah, Jesus Christ, however you believe in it or whatever you believe, then you have to look at that. Okay, so you are natural phenomenon, if you want to put it that way, natural. Okay, versus man-made. Okay, now what's man-made? So start looking at what's man-made. Okay, and start realizing that you have power over that. Okay, because all you got to do is tap into your power. Okay, I was just with a client earlier. Okay, now I teach her voice, but I'm also stimulating the God part of her. Okay, her energy. Whatever you call what's in you, you're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy that lives within your body. Your body's going to get old, your body's going to drop, that energy is going to go. Okay, and yeah, that energy is eternal. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, what's Uncle smoking this morning? Okay, but there you go. Okay, now I told my client, I said, I'm just stirring up. It's a woman, so I said, I'm just stirring up the goddess part of you, okay, that God energy in you. And she looked at me, and she gets it because she's been down the road with me. This is her second month, and she's developing, and she's getting very confident, and she's ex-military, and she has some issues about, the residual effects of being in the military. Okay. If you want to know about that, ask somebody who's been in the military. They'll tell you. Okay. But I also have worked with tons of people in the military that have PTSD. Okay. Tons. I wish I could have worked with my son. My son has PTSD from the military. I wish I could have worked with him, but he's my son. So you know how that goes, right? It's just like trying to help your significant other, and I was dating this girl for years, and she came down with breast cancer, and I wish I could have helped her because the antidepressants that they gave her just messed her up, totally messed her up. Okay, nothing against the medical industrial complex, although I will not say how I feel about it, but yeah, okay, I have personal feelings about it, but this is the podcast. This is not time for that, or not the place for that. But anyway, yeah, and so you can't help the people closest to you because you can't act in your professional capacity once you've been acting in your personal capacity because it confuses people, right? They don't know how to take it, and sometimes it's just awkward. It's just awkward, So anyway, God-made versus man-made. So look at the things in your life that are God-made. That's everything that comes from you, okay? Everything that comes from the inside. Now, man-made, everything that man invented is on the outside. Okay, so you're talking about religion, you're talking about education, you're talking about all these external entities, all these corporations, all these constructs. They're all man-made. All of them. Okay, and this is why Christians say you can be in the system or in the world, but not of the world. And you can be in the system, but not of the system. And it's very important because you can attract everything into your world. This is a law of attraction comedy podcast. Okay, so start taking notes. Here we go. Okay, you can attract everything into your world. Why? Because you have a subconscious. That's where manifestation happens, in your subconscious. Okay, So when you start manifesting, okay, because you manifest whether you do or not, but having control over your manifestations is the thing. You need to do this. Why? So that you can predict what you're going to get, right? So that you can target what you want and you can receive what you want in life. Or guess what? Somebody else will control your subconscious. Somebody else will teach you how to think. Somebody else will, so when you go to college, for example, okay, when you go to college, right? Some people go to college to learn a trade. Some people go to college to, because they have to. If you want to be a pharmacist, you want to be a PhD, a doctor, a psychologist, a internist, whatever you want to be, right? An attorney. So you need college. You have to go because these things have a system. You have to follow what it is because they have, it's there. It's a construct, okay? But there's education necessary. So, yep, you have to go, okay? But here's the thing, right? Sometimes you just go to get you just choose a degree, any degree, right? Because I met these guys working at Burger King that had degrees. I mean, they had degrees in these random things that there's not even careers for. I mean, botany and whatever. Well, I have a bachelor's degree in botany. Oh, okay. Well, are you using it? No, I'm working at Burger King because there was no jobs in botany or whatever. I'm just using it as an example. Okay, I'm not hating on people that do botany or anything, but I'm just saying a lot of people go to college. So nobody goes to college to be smart. They go to college to learn a trade or to pick a major or pick something, right? So they can say, well, I graduated from a Masonic college and, I wore the mortar board and I did the tassel ceremony and the, whatever and all of that. Okay, now we can get into the esoteric meanings of all of that, but that's not necessary. It's a Masonic world. We just live in it, okay? And look it up. It's a thing. Go do your research. But here's the thing, Hawaiians, okay, pay attention to this, okay? All right. So when you start learning how to think about things, okay, it's going to take away from the natural version of you because now you're being trained. Okay, now the word training is a word that was invented for man's relationship with animals. Okay, just so you know. Okay, so when you see job training, okay, the word training is like when you train a dog, you train a train a horse, that kind of thing. Okay, just so you know. All right. So now in society, they have all these constructs set up. They have all these things set up for you. Okay, so I call it the merry-go-round or the mouse wheel. Okay, because here's a sample of that. So you go to Costco and you buy in bulk. Okay, then guess what? You start eating in bulk. Why? Because you buy in bulk. It's cheaper. You eat more. Okay, there you go. Okay, now if you don't have, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying I've been to Costco and I see the people in Costco and Anyway, and I was one of them. Okay. So I'm not saying I was above that. I'm just saying, I've been there. Okay. And then, so you buy in bulk, you eat in bulk, and then guess what happens? Health problems. Then where do you go? You go to the HMO. Okay. The HMO treats you. And then where do you go? Right. You go back to Costco. Okay. What? It's a cycle. Okay. But this is commerce. This is capitalism. This is what we have, okay? So you can be in capitalism. You don't have to be of capitalism. You can make money in capitalism. You can benefit off of capitalism. Okay, you can do well in capitalism. Yeah, you can do all of that, and you don't have to suffer, the downside. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, there's moderation. Oh, what a concept. What a concept, moderation. Okay, my mom is the king or queen. My mom is the queen of moderation. Like she always tells me, moderation. When I enjoy something, I just kind of like, well, I don't know about moderation. Let me have another donut. That kind of thing, right? Okay, but these are man-made. It's not God-made. Okay, So when you need to exercise the power within you, all you need to do is call upon it. Okay? Now, I'm here to tell you that you can call upon it in Jesus' name. You can call upon it in whoever you believe, whatever you believe. Okay? I'm not here to tell you what to believe. But you can call upon, or you can just call upon it. Okay? Your subconscious listens to you. Your subconscious is always listening. My subconscious right now is listening to me, and it doesn't know whether I'm talking to you or whether I'm talking to me. And all you need to do is speak it. Okay? And you can speak things into existence. How does that happen? Well, you speak something. Okay? Maybe it's, I am confident. I am confident. If you do that every day, a few times a day, in 2 weeks, you will feel the shift. The mental attitude shift. You will feel that, and you will feel more confident. Why? Because the subconscious listens to you, and because your voice is stronger than anybody else's voice in your subconscious. It pays attention to you. And this is why when you wish someone, bad, when you wish something bad against someone, or you say something bad to someone, your subconscious doesn't know you're talking to somebody else. So guess what? You start developing a complex. If you do that too often, or let's say if you do that regularly, you start having hangups. Okay? And pretty soon they're noticeable. Okay? You don't notice because you're used to it, because your subconscious, is in repeat cycle. Okay? So it's in repeat cycle, and then you start feeling bad. Pretty soon you're not confident. Pretty soon all low self-esteem, all of that. Okay? And you don't know why. And it's very difficult to isolate. It's very difficult to go, oh, it's because I swear a lot, or it's because I use God's name in vain a lot. You know what God's name in vain sounds like? I'm stupid. I am stupid, right? Because why? Because I am is God's name. Okay, well, if you're a Christian, but that's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is, I am refers to your very being. It refers to your soul. Be careful what you put after I or I am. Okay, be careful. Even if it's I'm, it's the same thing. Okay, your subconscious is always listening. Okay, so when you work against it, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident, thank you, and that's your affirmation, you start feeling better about yourself. Why? Because now you're telling your subconscious you're confident. Subconscious goes, oh, we're confident? Okay, let me look for evidence of that. And it will pull the evidence. Oh, remember in fifth grade when you did that was confident. Remember when you asked the girl out in, when you were doing your first job when you were 17 and you took her out? Remember that? That was confident. So like all of these things. So everything will come out because your subconscious will pull the confirmation. The superconscious will start opening your doors for you. Open all the doors for you. Okay? As you take confident steps towards your goal, whatever that is. Now, if it's towards confidence, guarantee, right? It'll start opening new doors, showing you confidence. Okay? Because you'll be acting confident. Why? Because you told your subconscious you're confident. So the subconscious goes, okay, we're going to be confident. And now your subconscious is repeating confidence. And now you're doing a whole bunch of confident things. And here's what derails us, okay? What derails us is when accidents happen, setbacks happen, okay? And we start focusing on it. So let's say, you're going along and you're being confident and you're doing confident actions. And then all of a sudden there's a break in confidence. Because that happens. We're human beings. Now there's a break in self-confidence and you get hung up on it because, oh man, that was not confident. Oh man, I lost that girl. Oh man, I lost that job. Oh man, I really screwed up that opportunity. That kind of stuff. Okay, now you get hung up on that. What happens when you keep thinking about it? Thoughts become things, right? A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Now you're dwelling on that. Okay, now you're thinking about, something bad that happened. Okay, which is what happens with trauma. Same thing. Okay, but trauma is like an amplified event. that affects your emotions. Okay, and then it sticks out, and then you think about that, right? And anyway, but you're thinking about this stuff. Then it becomes a belief. And then what does that belief do? It counteracts the confidence. And now what do you got to do? You got to get back on your affirmations. You got to write it. You got to speak it. You got to think it. You got to believe it. You got to visualize it. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. There you go. Okay. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in my life I've had to recover from negative things. And when I worked in radio, like and entertainment, I mean, those are ego-driven careers. Okay, you got to have a healthy ego. Okay, which means, left brain, right? So you have to have a lot of, I want to say, you have to have balance. Okay, because your creative side is just running away with you, right? When you're on radio, like the pistons are firing on the right hemisphere of the brain, creativity. Okay, but you have to balance with the left side, with the ego. The ego always thinks it knows best, and it can get carried away. And when it gets carried away, you got to reel it in, And sometimes what used to happen is, I used to bounce off other egos. And sometimes you have a battle of egos, okay? And this is where one person's ego goes up against another person's ego, and there's a huge clash, okay? And I used to win most of those. But it wasn't good for me, okay? Let me tell you why, okay? Because when you do that, right, and you're clashing up against someone, what are you doing? You're striking out against somebody. And what does that do in the subconscious? Negative stuff. Yeah. And then you feel bad. And why do you feel bad? Well, you felt bad because you struck out. You won the argument. You won over them. You made them look silly. You made them look stupid. Yeah, okay, that's how you left the situation, right? But guess what happens when you make somebody look stupid? It backfires, okay? What goes around comes around in the subconscious. Okay, so then what did I have to do? I had to go back to my office, right? After because radio is 4 hours in the morning, right? Entertainment, wherever I was at whatever event or whatever, they're short events. What did I have to do after that? I had to go back to the office. I had to sit in my chair. I had to meditate, and I had to do my ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Why? Why did I have to do that? Because I had to reset. I had to clear. So if you want to clear, okay, ho'oponopono, look it up. Okay, so I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That's it. But you have to clear. You have to say you're sorry, okay? So you're saying sorry to your creator, whoever you believe that to be, higher self, higher power, higher whatever, okay, all of that, Jesus Christ, Allah, whoever you believe. But you have to apologize to that, okay? Because that is an extension of you. Well, you're an extension of that. It works the other way. But I'm saying, up the food chain, okay? Up that way. If you want to say up. But it's actually it's actually inside. And you want to say it to yourself. Now, a lot of people don't forgive themselves. Okay, so you start holding things against yourself. That results in low self-esteem, low self-image, low everything low. Just period. Okay, down there. Down. Okay, down and up. Okay, whatever. In and out, down and up, as above, so below, as within, so without. Okay. But yeah, that, okay? And you don't want to do that to yourself. Why? Because you're going to put yourself behind. You're going to put yourself at a deficit. Now, if you don't know how to clear, now you know how. Okay, if you did not know, now you know. With knowledge comes responsibility. Now you need to start clearing. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Okay, there you go. Okay, that's God-made. That's not man-made, that's God-made. Because you're apologizing to your creator as well as yourself. Okay? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Okay? You're forgiven. When you ask for forgiveness, you are forgiven. It's that simple. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Gratitude. Okay? Express gratitude and express love. I love you. There you go. Okay? Because God is love. Okay, God is love, and you're expressing that divine energy within you. Okay, because you have it. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't have what you have. Now take a look around you. What do you have? Okay, a lot of us have different things. We have the things we're interested in. I have a bunch of guitars. I know guys that have a bunch of jet skis. I know guys that have a bunch of TVs, so it's whatever our interest is. I know guys who have a bunch of trucks. I mean, they love trucks. They go and they buy a new truck, whatever. Okay, so it just depends on what your interests are. Okay, there's no judgment. There's no, everybody has what they have. Okay, now, on the other side of the coin, okay, if you don't have what you want, you need to start practicing this very calculated effort of manifestation. Okay, because the effort is in the thinking and the effort is in the action. Either or. A lot of people subscribe to the idea that action is just physical. No, action is thought. Okay, because I used to listen to Esther Hicks a lot, because when I first heard her, I thought she was bat. Oh, I don't want to say the term, bat something crazy. Okay, because we have kids listening. I don't want to swear. I'm just like that. Anyway. So, but I thought she was bat something crazy, okay? And then I listened again, just out of curiosity. I'm like, let me try and see if I can follow her. She's hard to follow if you're not savvy. Okay, so I listened. And when I listened, I go, oh, okay, I got it. Okay? And what she says is you hold the thought for 16 seconds. Can you hold a thought for 16 seconds? Can you hold a single thought for 16 seconds? Can you think about it, 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 and that 16 seconds, let it go. That's it. And switch your thought process. That's what she's talking about. And she calls it the vortex, okay? Whether you call it vortex, you call it God, you call it Jesus Christ, whatever you call it. But it's that divine part. Excuse me. It's that divine part. That divine aspect of you. But it's inside. It's not outside. God is not up in the sky. God is inside of you. God lives in you. God is a part of you. All you have to do is join with it. All you have to do is embrace it. All you have to do is call it forth. That's all. And I see this in little kids. I get this going in little kids. I get the God part of little kids going. And it's amazing to watch. It's just amazing to watch a little child find themselves. And they find themselves very quickly with their voice. Very quickly. The shyer they are, the more reserved, the more quiet they are and stuff like that. Like it takes a little longer. It takes a little bit longer. But have you ever worked with stressed out children? Mm-hmm. Stressed out children will overdo because they're stressed, and you give them an opportunity to let their energy out, okay? And they're stressed out inside, okay? And they're not afraid to let themselves out. Oh boy, that's amazing to watch. That is amazing. And I did not know, when I was first doing this with kids, I did not know that this would result in my research. I did not know that this was a key thingy that I had no knowledge. I had no knowledge of that whatsoever. I did not know I was actually making a mistake. Like it was a mistake. I found this out by mistake. And then I go, oh, there's a ton of research on this. I'm like, whoa, like this is a thing. And I thought like I stumbled on the Holy Grail and like, no, they knew this stuff in the 30s and the 40s. They have research on this. This is a thing. And then I'm like, okay, why is nobody coming out and saying that your voice can heal you of certain emotional, difficulties or challenges or, obstacles or whatever? And I'm like, no, okay, so I made it my life's work since 2007 to do my best to educate people on this topic. Like, okay, God lives within you, and when you use your voice, you're summoning that energy. You're waking that part of you up. You're waking that God or goddess, if you're a girl, God or woman, goddess part of you, God or goddess part, whatever, the God particle of you. Okay, there was a book written, The God Particle. Okay, and then no, but this is all connected to the voice. And I was like, ooh, okay. So I've been, trying to have people realize that this happens, that this is a thing. Okay, so use your voice. Loud and proud. That's what I always say, loud and proud. But God-made versus man-made, okay? Your voice is God-made. All right. Sorry, Hawaiians, I gotta go. I gotta go. All right. What is the lesson on this podcast? Okay, pay attention to things that are God-made. Pay attention to the things in you, the magic that you can make. Never mind what man made. All right. Well, maybe. You probably don't want to give up your jet ski or your car or your house. Okay, there you go. Okay, Hawaiians, there you go. Hey, I want to thank the Voice Master family of service companies and AFM Hawaii Music, featuring the music of Darren Chinen. Until next time, I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. saying mahalo and aloha.